The scent of freshly brewed coffee mingled with the hum of conversations as Grace Thompson stepped into the bustling Horizon City Airport terminal. Streams of golden morning light poured through the towering windows, casting long reflections on the glossy floor. With each stride, her modest yet confident demeanor was apparent, dressed in a tailored gray jacket and a soft blue blouse. Her sensible leather loafers complemented the practical carry-on she wheeled beside her. Checking her phone, Grace quickly scanned her flight details. Flight 907. Premium class. Departure in 2 hours. A hint of excitement curled at the corner of her lips. This wasn't her first flight, but it was the first time she'd splurged on a premium experience. It felt like a well-deserved treat after years of hard work at her small but thriving consultancy firm, which had just secured its largest contract to date. The check-in line for premium passengers was refreshingly short. Behind the counter stood a middle-aged man with close-cropped hair and a polished badge that read David. His eyes darted over the line, his stiff posture betraying an evident impatience. Grace approached as her turn arrived. "Good morning," she greeted him politely, sliding over her documents. David scanned her ticket, his expression shifting subtly. His lip twitched into a skeptical smirk as he read the details. "Premium class," he repeated, dragging out the words as if questioning her presence in that line. "Yes, that's correct," Grace replied, keeping her tone light but firm. She noticed the way his gaze flickered from her ticket to her face. Pausing just a moment too long, David tapped at his keyboard with deliberate slowness. After a moment, he glanced back at her, his expression hardening. "There seems to be an issue with your ticket. It's not registering as premium class." Grace blinked, surprised. "There must be a mistake," she said calmly. "I booked it weeks ago and received confirmation." David leaned slightly on the counter, his smirk more pronounced now. "Well, mistakes happen. Are you sure you didn't get this from one of those discount travel sites?" His tone dripped with condescension. Grace's stomach churned, but she maintained her composure. "I booked directly with the airline," she clarified. "Could you please double-check?" David's sigh was theatrical. He tapped the keyboard again, louder this time. "Look," he said, lowering his voice conspiratorially. "Premium is reserved for priority travelers. If you don't meet the criteria, economy check-in is just down the hall." Grace's patience frayed. "I have a confirmed ticket," she said sharply, pulling her phone from her bag. "I can show you the email." Before she could open it, David straightened. "Security," he called, motioning to a nearby guard. "We have a passenger causing a disturbance." Grace's heart sank as a uniformed guard approached. "What's going on here?" he asked, looking between Grace and David. David gestured dismissively at Grace. "She's insisting on premium boarding with an invalid ticket." "That's not true," Grace interjected, her voice rising slightly. "I've done nothing wrong. My ticket is legitimate." The guard hesitated, glancing at David, whose smug expression didn't waver. "We can't hold up the line," David said, waving a hand. "She can take this up with customer service." Humiliation prickled at Grace's skin as murmurs rippled through the passengers behind her. For a moment, she considered walking away, but a spark of defiance flared within her. "I'll handle this differently," she muttered under her breath. She stepped aside, jaw tight, as she scrolled through her contacts. Finding the number she needed, she tapped it and raised the phone to her ear. "Hey, it's Grace," she said when the call connected. "Can you have the jet ready? I'll need it within the hour." The person on the other end responded affirmatively. Grace thanked them and ended the call, her heart pounding. She turned and walked toward a quieter seating area, her movements deliberate, her back straight. 15 minutes later, heads turned as a sleek silver private jet descended onto the tarmac. A glossy black sedan pulled up to the terminal, and a uniformed chauffeur stepped out, scanning the area before making his way toward Grace. "Miss Thompson," he said, his tone respectful, "your jet awaits." Grace stood, the weight of countless stares pressing on her. As she adjusted her jacket, she followed the chauffeur toward the private gate, each step measured, her expression composed. David, still standing behind the counter, gaped at the scene unfolding before him. His self-satisfied demeanor crumbled as he watched Grace stride confidently past the gawking crowd toward the jet staircase. Grace paused at the bottom of the stairs and looked back toward the terminal. She spotted David still staring, his face pale with realization. Without a word, she ascended the steps and disappeared into the luxurious cabin. Inside the jet, she sank into a plush leather seat. Exhaling deeply, she pulled out her phone and began drafting an email, recounting the incident with meticulous detail. Before hitting send, she allowed herself a moment of reflection. This wasn't just about setting the record straight, it was about demanding respect. As the jet soared into the sky, Grace stared out the window, the city below fading into a blur. Her humiliation had transformed into resolve. This wasn't the end of the story, it was just the beginning. As the jet cruised high above the clouds, the tension in Grace's chest began to ease, replaced by a sense of quiet triumph and determination. The soft hum of the engines and the luxury surrounding her created a stark contrast to the chaos and humiliation she had left behind. She leaned back into the plush leather seat, her fingers lightly tapping the armrest as she reflected on what had just transpired. Her thoughts wandered to David's face, the arrogance, the sneer, and the dismissive tone he had used to belittle her. She wasn't one to dwell on negativity, but this encounter stirred something deeper within her. It wasn't just about her treatment. It was about the systemic disrespect people like David felt comfortable displaying. It wasn't the first time Grace had been underestimated or dismissed, but today she had the resources and resilience to ensure it wouldn't go unnoticed. Turning her attention to her phone, Grace reviewed the email she had drafted. Every word was deliberate, every detail precise. It wasn't a scathing condemnation, but a factual recounting of her experience and a pointed call for accountability. She highlighted the importance of respect and professionalism, noting that her complaint wasn't just about her treatment, but about the culture that allowed such behavior to thrive. With a final review, she added a confident closing line: "Every passenger deserves dignity, no matter what class they're flying with." Taking a deep breath, Grace hit send. Satisfied, she set her phone aside and gazed out the window. The sun was setting, now painting the horizon in hues of orange and pink. She felt a renewed sense of purpose. This incident was a reminder of why she had worked so hard to reach this point in her life. It wasn't just about personal success. It was about using her platform and influence to make changes that mattered. A soft knock on the cabin door drew her attention. The flight attendant, a polished woman with a warm smile, stepped inside. "Miss Thompson, would you care for a drink or something to eat?" Grace nodded. "A glass of water, please." As the attendant disappeared, Grace's phone buzzed. It was a reply from the airline's executive team. Opening the email, she saw a prompt and apologetic response. They expressed their regret for her experience, assured her it would be investigated, and even mentioned the possibility of revisiting their training policies. It wasn't everything Grace wanted, but it was a start, a small step toward better accountability. She smiled faintly, knowing this victory wasn't just hers. It was a reminder that even in moments of humiliation, dignity could be reclaimed and used as a tool for growth. The attendant returned with a crystal glass of water, which Grace accepted gratefully. She raised it slightly in a quiet toast to herself. She wasn't the kind of person who sought revenge. She sought change. And as she sipped the water, she felt certain that this was only the beginning of a journey toward ensuring respect and fairness for all. Above the clouds, she wasn't just soaring toward her destination. She was soaring toward a future she was determined to shape.